on the agenda, this is what we have. We have the system requirements, the network connection, the access to the network camera, Wi-Fi settings, live view, network camera configuration, user management, network settings, video/audio settings, event settings, people counting, and storage setting. On today, I'll be showing you guys on the system requirements, network connection, and access to the network camera. How do you set up your network camera configuration? Now, first on our list, we have the system requirements. Now, what are the system requirements you need for you to start your network Hikvision network camera configuration? First, your operating system must be Microsoft Windows SP, SP1 and above. That is to say, you can use Microsoft Windows 11, Microsoft Windows 10, Microsoft Windows 8, Microsoft Windows 8.1, and again the CPU you are going to use should be gigahertz or higher. Should be 2.0 gigahertz or higher. Now your RAM should be Explorer 8 to 11, Mozilla Firefox 30.0 and above version, Google Chrome 41.0 and above version 2. Now take note, for Google Chrome version 45 and its above version, or Mozilla Firefox 52 and its above version, which are plug-in free, picture and playback function are hidden. Now what I mean by that is that, why is it hidden? You are the one now to enable it from your browser settings. To use this mention function via browser, change their lower version or change to Internet Explorer 8.0 and above. It's either you enable these settings from your Chrome browser or you use Internet Explorer 8.0 and above. Now for camera that does not support plug-in free view, you are to use Internet Explorer 8 to 11 from the settings. Now during the practical steps, I'm going to show you guys how to enable your Internet Explorer from your Microsoft Explorer. Now, mind you, the old version of Microsoft Explorer is Internet Explorer. Now, for you to access your camera, you need Internet Explorer, and this Internet Explorer is hidden inside the Microsoft Explorer. So you are the one to enable it. So during the practicals, I'll show you guys on how to enable this Internet Explorer from your Microsoft Explorer. Now, on our next slide, you have network connection. Now, during this network connection, before you can start your network connection, this is what you have to do. If you want to set the network camera via LAN, that is local area network, please refer to the section that I'm going to show you down. Now, for network over LAN, this is what you need to do. Setting the network camera over LAN. The purpose of this is to view and configure the camera via LAN. You need to connect the network camera in the same subnet with your computer. Now, listen again. You need to connect your camera with the same subnet with your what camera if you want to configure your camera through LAN connection. Now, wiring over the LAN. The following pictures I'm going to show you will give you a clear understanding on how to configure your Hikvision camera over the LAN. Now, this is the topology now. You have your camera, you have your IP camera, and you also have your network camera. Now for connect direct connection, to your computer, you just need your IP camera and your LAN cable, your network cable to your computer. That is direct connection. Your computer now will be as the server and also as the NVR. Now, for connecting via a switch or a router, you will need to get a switch, and you also need to get a router, and you also need to get your network cable. Now, I'm going to give you guys a clear understanding on how you are going to do this during our practicals. Now, activating the camera. Activating the camera. You are required to activate the camera first by setting a strong password for it before you can use the camera. Now, mind you, before you set up any camera, either Hikvision, Dawa, or ViewTech, you need to set up the camera, yeah, the password of the camera. Now, activation via web browser. Now you can activate this camera. You can set up this camera through via web browser, through SADP, and also you can activate it via the client software. All these are supported. Now, activation through the web browser. These are the steps you are going to take during the activation of your camera via web browser. Power on your camera. Power on your camera and connect the camera to the network. Input the IP address into the address bar of your web browser, that is your Internet Explorer. Click enter and to enter the activation interface. Note, you might want to ask me what is the IP address, the default IP address of the camera. Now, this is the default IP address of the camera: 192.168.1.64. Other cameras like Dawa and ViewTech, their default IP address might be 192.168.0.20.64 or .0.120 or .0.121. Now, the computer and the camera should be plugged in the same subnet. That is, the camera that is having a PoE adapter should be plugged. The internet part of the PoE adapter should be plugged to your system, and the PoE part of the PoE adapter should be plugged to the camera. Now, how do you access this camera interface? They must be on the same subnet. What did I mean by subnet? Now, the subnet simply means it's either if you have slash um, 24, which is 255.255.255.0. So all your computer and the camera should be on the same subnet for you to access this um, um, web interface of the camera. Now, for the camera enables the DHCP by default. You need to use SADP software. Now, this software is a software that comes with that comes with Hikvision camera, right? Why other camera you can just configure it via the web without using the software. Now, create and input password in the password field. Once you log in, it will display an interface where it will prompt you to create a username and also a password. Now, mind you, strong password is recommended. Strong password is recommended. I highly recommend you to create a strong password while configuring your camera. Now, after you have created the password, click on confirm to confirm it. Click OK to save the password to enter into the live view interface. Now, activation via SADP. Now, since we have talked about activation through the web interface, the web browser, that is your Internet Explorer. Now, we have been talking about SADP. How do you activate your camera, your Hikvision camera through SADP software, the software that comes with Hikvision camera, is used for detecting the online device. That is to say, if you have already added this camera to your switch, to your router, it helps you to um, to detect the online devices. That is the camera that has been added to your switch, activating the camera and resetting the password. Get SADP software from a supplied disk or the official website. Just as I told you, it's either it will comes with the camera, or you can also install it from the website. Install the SADP according to the prompt. Follow the steps to activate the camera. Step 1. Run the SADP software to search the online devices. Step 2. Check the device status from the device list and select inactive devices. That is to say, the devices that are active, you can select it. Note: the SADP software supports activating camera in badges. That is to say, if you want to activate your camera, instead of you going through the web to activate your camera one after the other, SADP is a software that allows you to activate this camera in badges. Now, you can, from SADP, you can also create and input a password in the password field and confirm it. This this from here, you can see that the interface, this is the interface on how our SADP software looks like. This is the interface of how our SADP software looks like. Now let's go to the next slide. Modifying the IP address manually, or checking the checkbox of the enable DHCP. Now from your SADP software, activate you can modify the address, the IP address manually, right? Now, you know that the system has bring it has bring um an IP address for you now on DHCP protocol. Now, once you uncheck the DHCP section, it will allow you to input the provided IP address for the project. Now, if you have an IP plan that you are supposed to use during this configuration, now on this segment, it allows you um, to input the IP that you have provided for the project manually instead of getting it automatically, right? Now, that is just the simple steps on how to modify the IP address from SADP software. Now, activation via client software. Now, what do I mean by client software? Now, you have SADP software and you also have client software. Now, SADP software is a software that you use during the activation if you want to activate it in batch. Now, you can also use the client software. Client software is a software provided from the client. That is to say, Hikvision are the owner of the client's software. Now, the name of this client software is IVMS. 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 That is the name of this client software. Now, client software, just as I said, is versatile to for video management software. You understand? Now, you get this client software from the disk or from the official site, right? That is official site, I mean Hikvision website. And you just install it on your PC. How do you activate this camera? Step 1. Run the client software and the control panel of the software will pop out as shown. Now this is the picture. If you look from this picture now, once you run this software, it will bring you to this control panel. It will bring you to this control panel. On this control panel, you have the device management and you also have the control panel now. Now, click on the device management. Just as I said, click on the device management. On the device management, enter the device management interface, just as shown in this picture that I displayed here. This is it. Once you click on it, it will prompt, it will bring you to this page where it will allow you now to check the status of the device and the list and select the inactive devices. If you select the inactive devices, it will allow you now to activate. The activation button will pop out for you to activate the inactive what devices. Mind you, all these are running on what? DHCP. All these are running on what? DH what? CP. Now, just like the SADP and the web browser, you can also create a password and input the password in the password field. You click confirm to confirm the password. Mind you, a password with username in is not allowed. Click OK button to start the activation. Click OK button to start the activation. Then after the activation, click the modify net info button as shown in the picture. Click the modify net info button to pop out the network parameter modification interface. Now, once you pop out the network parameter interface, it will prompt you now to modify your IP address, just as I said during the SADP. It will prompt you now if you have an IP plan, you have a project that is ongoing, you have an IP plan to use on your camera. Now, it will allow you to modify the IP address to use the planned IP for the cameras instead of using a DHCP IP address that's the device provided. Why are we using the planned IP address for this activation? Is because we don't want IP conflicts. The one DHCP might provide since the ports of the switch is not configured, or if your port is configured to a certain IP address, if you are using DHCP and you have not modified the planned IP address, the VLAN passed on that switch might be conflicting with the provided DHCP address from the device. That is why we need to modify the IP address network parameters. Now, setting the network camera over the WAN. Now, I've explained how to set up the network camera over LAN. Now, how do you set up network camera over WAN? That is wide area network. Now, the purpose of this is to explain how to connect the camera to the WAN with a static IP or a dynamic IP. What did I mean by static IP now? The static IP is the IP that you provided. Before you start this, please apply a static IP from an ISP, that is Internet what? Service Provider. With the static IP address, you can connect the network camera via a router or connect it to a WAN directly. Now, connecting the network camera via a router. Step 1. Connect the camera to the router. Step 2. Assign a LAN IP address. We have already discussed about this. Assign a LAN IP address. The subnet mask and the gateway must be the same with your computer. Now, the IP address configuration of the network camera should be assigned from the LAN IP address. Understand this, please. Save the static IP in the router. You see that? Save the starting IP address in the what? In the router. set a port mapping. Now, this port mapping might be at times might be a little bit complex, but we are going to set a day to discuss about port mapping in camera configuration. Now, visit the camera through a web browser or or the client software over the internet. Now, these are the procedure on how to to connect the camera to one. You know, I showed you, I displayed a picture on how to connect it to a LAN. Now, this picture here is showing you how do you connect it to what? To a WAN, that is wide area network. Your cameras are here, your IP cameras are here, your network cable is connected to a router with static IP. Now, your router, you have already provided a static IP in your router. Now, from your router now, you connect a LAN cable to the internet, that is the ISB, the internet service provider. Now, from this ISB, you connect another LAN cable to your computer. Why are you doing this? You want to have a gateway for you to view your camera through the router, and also to view it on cloud through your computer. Now, this is the first step you need for you to configure a network camera. This is just the first step you need for you to configure a network camera. On our next tutorial, I'll be taking you guys, we'll be diving in more on the breakdown on how you connect your camera from the switch to your computer. And I also break it down how you connect your camera from the router to your internet. What is the purpose of the internet? What is the purpose of, since the router is there, why are we still using internet? On our next tutorial, I'll be breaking it down and showing you guys how to do all this. So just keep your fingers crossed, stay tuned as we dive in more on camera topology. I'll make you to understand that setting up a camera on any network is easy and very fast